Hi, I'm John Norris, and welcome to One by One with New Kids on the Block. You know, it was the summer of 1989 that I first met these five guys from Dorchester, Massachusetts. They'd already had their first #1 hit, and New Kids Mania was really beginning to take hold. They finished that year the top-selling group in America, bringing to 15 million their worldwide total of record and video sales. Right now, let's have a look at the New Kids phenomenon. All right, well, despite all of that, earlier in 1990, some people were saying that New Kids had peaked, that their 15 minutes of fame was over. But then along they came with their fastest-breaking album yet and their biggest tour to date. We recently spent some time with the guys out on the road on their Magic Summer Tour and managed to speak with 4/5 of the band, the only one we didn't chat with being Jonathan Knight. So we're going to get started with the guy who, for my money, represents the spirit and the energy of this group, Donnie Wahlberg. He's also the new kid who's been the subject of some rumors in recent months.
I'm not one to put much stock in what the tabloids have to say. I mean, I've seen this in like, what, 3 or 4 different places over the last 2 months. You know, Donnie is leaving New Kids. Donnie's thinking about leaving New Kids. Is this totally not right?
No, I think, well, first of all, there's so much stuff in all the tabloids and everywhere that, I mean, you know, a lot of people are going to believe a lot of stuff that they hear, but no, it's not true. I don't have any plans on going anywhere, you know. And I think where people get them things is because it's like, see, like our image is so like different from what we really are, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, we're just very positive-minded people, you know. We're not goody two-shoes, we're not angels, we're not kids who are bred to be role models and nothing like that. We're just positive-minded people. And, you know, when people see, like me on the street, a lot of people are surprised by what they see. You know, I'm not out there doing drugs or drinking and stuff like that. But I mean, I grew up in the streets of Boston. And when you grow up in the streets of Boston, you learn to not take no crap, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when people see me on the street, they expect me to be running around, you know, hiding behind my bodyguards and this and that. And, you know, a lot of dudes want to try and take shots at us. And I don't go for it, you know. And I think people grab at that, grab at maybe my outspokenness and my difference than, say, the rest of the guys in the group. And it's just an easy thing to get. But, I mean, the guys in the group and myself, we all just act like ourselves. And, you know, I think just me being a little bit different than the rest of the guys is just easy to pick at.
As you said before, you guys, it's important to you that you just positive people, and if you project a positive image, great, you know. How adamant are you that the people around you in your organization are as positive and live the way you live in terms of drug-free, basically in a positive kind of way?
I mean, there's times, you know, if the show's over and stuff, you see a lot of the roadies in the bar and stuff like that, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's their right to do that, you know. It's just that just the way I live doesn't make the way somebody else lives wrong, you know what I'm saying? And I've never tried to say that somebody else is wrong for living the way they want to live. You know, a lot of people in my family, brothers and sisters, had drug problems, you know what I'm saying? And that taught me lessons, you know? And that's kind of why it irritates me when people say that New Kids speak against drugs and this and that, but they don't know what they're talking about. Man, I grew up with drugs all around me, not only in the streets, but in my own family. You know, so I definitely know what I'm talking about.
Wasn't the temptation there for you?
Yeah, the temptation was definitely there for me. You know, and when I was young, I experimented with things. But I think seeing my family go down taught me a lesson, you know. And that's why I just try and just let people know that that's how I feel about it now.
I know that one of the big issue of concern to a number of artists this year, and I'm not sure how involved in it New Kids have been, is the environment. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, the importance of, you know, saving the planet in relation to the fact that, and I know, like before you said, you don't have to justify sponsorship and that sort of thing. But if there's one company that has been the target of environmentalists. It's this one right here. And do you have any thoughts on the fact that?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll say this: John Knight, for starters, was very, very strongly, talking to McDonald's about the environment, about the styrofoam boxes, this and that, and we all talked to them about it.
They are trying to replace this styrofoam.
Yeah. They're trying to do that right now, and they're trying to, they're recycling. They're starting to put all these recycling bins in the store and everything. So, I mean, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, look at so much good stuff they do, the Ronald McDonald houses and stuff like that. And they're always doing stuff like basketball leagues and this and that. I mean, McDonald's does so much positive stuff, for kids and for everyone in general. I mean, and for them to just show that they are concerned about the environment themselves was good enough for me.
Yeah. It seemed to me that in terms of, I don't know how much you guys really care at this point about critical acceptance, or more serious music acceptance. I mean, how important is that kind of acceptance to you? The fact that Chuck D comes out in several interviews and says he is a fan of you guys and respects you and that sort of thing, that must make you feel good.
It definitely makes me feel good. This is where it gets tough for me because, when I walk through, like, the streets of a town or something, not just talking about critics, I mean, critics are everywhere. Regular people on the street are critics themselves. When I walk through the streets of a town and there's a couple of kids on the corner who are, like, trying to put down the new kids, and I walk over to them, and I'll get in a fist fight with them right there on the street, and people will say, Donnie, don't go to their level, you're a millionaire, this and that, don't worry about what people say about you, you shouldn't care. But the thing is, I do care, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think everyone in the world cares about how people feel about them in one way or another, you know what I'm saying? And I care. That's how I am. I'm not going to try and say, hey, I got $1 million, you can talk about me all you want, because that's not how I am. If you're trying to, to insult me and stuff, I'm going to stand up for myself no matter what. And as far as critics go, writers and stuff like that, I mean, they have a job to do, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but as long as they write out of knowledge and not out of ignorance, if a critic comes to the show and sees it and says, hey, the show wasn't that good, I'll respect that because they came and seen it. But most of the stuff I read, man, people have never even talked to us, met us, seen us, or nothing. And that I can't accept. That's just ignorance.